We are recording. Awesome. Awesome source. I say. Well, welcome everyone. Sorry for making you look at my weird face. It's not very exciting when it's in silence, so there we go. But I appreciate everybody joining today, and hopefully we'll provide you some awesome information and some stuff that you can take back and kind of think about. So, of course, all of you guys are currently all muted, but it doesn't mean you can't communicate with us. We do have a chat at the bottom and also a Q&A part. So if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to absolutely put some questions in there, and we will address those at the end or even during, depending on how we're doing. The session is obviously being recorded, so you won't miss anything. And I've got a couple of polls that I'll probably be shooting through on these throughout the webinar as well. So just to kind of gauge and interact with you guys. So today it is myself. I do look a lot younger in that photo. Still have the same haircut, but a lot younger. I need to update that. We have Carl, who's our head of sales, and Johnny, who's our head of product, who will be demonstrating the platform to you all today. So on that note, I will hand it over to Carl.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, just really what we're going to go and cover today, and the second point on there, seeing a list of the names obviously that have joined. Thank you very much, and it's a follow-on really from one of our earlier webinars this year, and the fantastic feedback that we had from it. So important. We'll come on to that. A big element of this, I'm a great believer in I like to learn from other people's mistakes. We know we're all going to go and make them. There's a great customer base of people around us that have gone through a lot of the challenges that we face when we're dealing with the monthly service releases. So and as Mike has already pointed out, yeah, please put the questions into the chat. We will have a little bit of time as well at the end for questions. So yeah, please ask anything.
Thanks, Benjamin. Benjamin just mentioned that the chat is disabled for some reason, so I'll look into that. Thank you, Benjamin.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you. So yeah, just for those that don't know us, a little bit about original software, dated back to 1996, and for those that can remember green screen or maybe still use it, there are some Infor products, Infor XA and LX that still do use green screen. That's where we started over the IBMI, and over the last 10 years now, we've been working with a growing number of Infor users that have either been on premise, moved from on premise to cloud, across SyteLine and some of their other cloud products. And what you're going to go and see today is really that beauty of being agnostic, working across all technology, because we know that our customers and organizations don't just have one core critical applications, definitely more than 5. You Google the average number and it'll be over 50 critical business applications. So how do you deal with that change? And things need to be easy. So bringing that sort of out of the box element to it, you have the skills already in your business to go and perform testing. So hence where we say, bringing that out of the box, the ability to end test across all applications, not just Infor. And a little recap from our previous webinar. Our previous webinars are on our website. The previous webinar for SyteLine was really that sort of helicopter view of really how our customers have gone about their testing, how they've gone about implementing a robust testing process. And obviously the why now bit, lots of people, taking advantage of moving to the cloud. We all want the latest, greatest functionality in the world. So, the timing is now. We have to understand how we then manage those monthly service releases, half-yearly major releases, and hence, the timing is now where we've got to understand what those risks might be. And then today we're going to go into some of the details, some of the execution, so that hopefully you all get a good understanding of you've got those skills and how easy it is to then go and perform the testing, create the automation. And yeah, there are some people that were on the previous webinars, so I'm going to say thank you now for the feedback through some of the polls. It's been excellent, and this has really driven us to to do this as well. We've managed to incorporate some of the feedback. Myself and Mike have been at the Western Infor user group over the last couple of days in Denver. Different Infor products, but again, those same challenges. And most of our customers and the people that we engage with, they're using some kind of tools, they're doing some kind of testing, but typically it's being managed in Excel and the execution is being done very, very manually. And yeah, nobody likes doing the testing. And often, and the biggest challenge is that when you're asking your subject matter experts to do certain elements, they're too busy with their day job. So managing that time and the capacity constraints that might cause, they were the two biggest elements of feedback, and that's from over 200 different organizations, and about 80% of the feedback we had were from SyteLine users, SyteLine organizations. So again, thank you. Yeah, feedback's a gift. So we're going to go now and into let's go test. Head of product Jonny is going to take us through performing some testing, really give you a good understanding of what it does, how we go about it, how our customers have gone about it.
So whilst Jonny's kind of setting up, I'm just going to run a quick poll then. Actually, we'll take advantage and do that.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. So let's put that ad out there. So leave it out for a few seconds, so we can maybe update our data later on as well. Present those two.
Yeah, as I say, definitely drives what people are trying to understand, look for, and therefore, help with the next webinar we might do.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always worth to see where everybody is, because it seems to be a good trend. It's very common. Everybody's in the same position or in those phases of their testing, either using, aren't using, etc. So it's quite fascinating to see. So give it a few more seconds whilst Jonny's setting up. See, there's about 33 of us in the group, so we're up to 21. So I think we're missing a handful of people, but I'll give it a couple of seconds. But we'll do it there. So oh, more's coming. Okay, give it another 10 seconds. Cool.
Super.
Let's share that. There we go. So actually got a good mix there. So 12% in-house testing team with test software, awesome. Yeah, in-house testing with no specialized tools, Excel, email, etc. 54%, so quite a big group in that space. Third-party testing, 4%, and no formal testing. So yeah, seems to be the trend that we've seen with most groups. So it's good to see. There you go. Awesome. All right, Jonny, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, Carl. If you stop sharing, I will start to show our wonderful solution in action.
He says,
so
there we go.
I apologize, because now you get a big screen view of Michael. So I'll quickly.
I know I'm shiny with this camera. It's weird.
Play on the screen. Okay, thank you everybody for coming today. This is just going to be a brief overview to show you the type of things we generally implement with those 54% who said, we use Excel, email, and it's just a way to make things easier, make things quicker, and ensure accuracy is a big thing as well, especially today with so many updates coming thick and fast. So our management studio, you can see in front of you, basically each person, and we can do this through the web as well, but each person, I've logged in as a business manager. These are all my tasks to do. They don't need to worry about anything other than the end users log in, they're given the task that's suitable for them. And each task will have information about how long it should take. It'll have information about who's doing it, when it needs to be done, what the priority is. But probably more importantly, it attaches to an individual test case. Now, these can be imported direct from Infor. If you're not using a vanilla, you can certainly customize them. It's very easy to capture. We have a business process capture part to this where it will bring these in. And essentially, you'll have test steps, and they'll go to the depth and granularity that's needed for your team. So here you can see it's fairly high level. It's we're going to do a customer order in a specific facility with a specific order number, and then we're just going to check it's a reserve status, and then we're going to check the sales price. So that's the test. Let's say I'm not too familiar with reserve ordering. We also have the capability, because of the business process capture, to go through and have a look at what that would look like. So this is without the application being open. So you could just be doing research here. And I'm just going to click on play, and it's like a little video, but it's a proprietary format. So it's so lightweight, you can actually email these around the team if you needed to. But it will go and it will show you what the test is. So we're going to open up the customer order. We're going to check the facility that we need where the data is. We're then going to search on a specific reserve. We're going to look at the details of the line. And this is the area that we need to check. We need to check the sales price equals the net price. And that's the test that we're going to do. So we have all the information at our fingertips available. What this does actually is it allows teams much more breadth, because if you didn't know this area, sometimes you wouldn't be asked to test it. But actually, it can be quite good to have fresh eyes. And with this information, you should be able to go through and have the information to test it no matter which team you come from. So I'm just going to test this now. So I just right click, I turn the test on, and what it does is it allows you to select the application. So it shows you all the applications open on my machine. And as Carl said, it typically with an end-to-end solution, you might have 5+, and that's where we're really good, because we can pick up all of those in the same line to give you a full end-to-end test. For this test, I'm just going to go through Infor. It could be SyteLine, it could be whatever you need. But basically, we bring here, we attach to the open application. You can see on the right hand side, it's going to actually record everything that we do in real time. So I go to my test steps, because let's say I'm new and I didn't know what to do. And the first thing is launch OIS 300 customer order. So I can click on here, I can do Control R. I can type in OIS 300 and I'll click on OK. And that opens it up. So there we go, that's passed. In the background, everything that I've just done has been recorded. This is going to be really important later on. So I'm just showing that as we go through it. So the next thing is search for the facility C01. So I'll go to facilities. I'll select C01. And that's great. When I apply it, I'll get different orders. So that's worked okay. And just to show you again, everything that I've been doing is recorded. Now I need to go in and actually select an order number. So it is 01 and 210. So we'll bring that through. There's a lot of deleted, so I'm actually going to scroll down on this one. I think there's been quite a few orders, so I just want to manually check it's there. And there it is. So we did find, and we have selected 210. Obviously your data will change, and that will change as we go through it, but I can see that it's reserved, which is good. That's what I wanted it to be. So we check the customer is customer is PY0002. So I'll pass that one. And the next thing is we're going to check the lines with a Control 15. And that should take me through, which it has. I can see the price is 2. And if I move down there, and with the idea is we're going to check the sales price is equal to the net price. So in this one, I need to see that line information. And when I look at that line information, actually, there's a difference. And I think it's because if I go back, it's because there was a discount applied. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fail that particular line. Now, as I said, the whole activity of everything that you've been doing has been captured here. So if I was unsure, if I picked the right thing, I can go back and I can check everything, but I'm looking here and I've got the right order. So I've gone through and I've run this test as it should be run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the screen up and I'm going to say I found an error. So it's very simple. So as an end user, this is designed for non-technical end users. So now as an end user, all I have to do is find my list of things to do, execute it, run it through. It'll all be done in backwards, in the background, capturing everything and follow the steps. And I can see here there is a difference between the sales price and the net price. I could say it that way. I could do multiple if there was other problems. I didn't like the color. I mean, this is typically designed for UAT, so you can do a lot here. But one other thing that I want to do is I want to create a feedback, because I'm running a triage system, which a lot of our customers do. And what that means is that you'll have somebody managing the test process, throwing it out to end users. But then sometimes, you know, there are misunderstandings and there are things that are done wrong, data may be incorrect. So we've got all types of feedbacks. This one's actually an issue. So I'm going to say that there appears to be a difference in reserved order pricing. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And I was doing it in a specific release, which you can set up. This one's called for M3. But as your patches come in, you can have a different release for each patch. I'm going to save that away. I'm going to close that down, and that's it. My test is actually done. Now, if I wanted to do more information, I could always go back. I could check the item number, the names. You see a discount's been applied there. So actually, what I will probably do at that point is go in, mark the screens up, and I would say this may be the reason why. I'm just going to leave that as informational. Discount applied. I'm going to click. I'm not going to do a feedback for that. It's just part of the way. And that's it. That's the end of my test. So what I can do at that point is I can just save. And it's appeared on my other screen. It's asking me, is it pass or fail? I'm just going to set it to fail. I'm not even going to put a description in this one. I'm just going to save that away. And that's it. So that's the test done. Now, it's everything that you have to do previously. But now what we've got is all been automated. So there's no need to go back and find out if the test passed or failed. There's no need to go back. You see it's automatically set to failed with feedback. There's no need to go back and reproduce it. There's no need to go back and write up your result. All of that effort has been taken away. And you as the manager, if you're managing these type of things, if I just refresh, you'll now come in and you'll have a look. And I can see now I've got lots of feedback. You could literally have hundreds of business users, or you could just have 2. It doesn't matter. This is a way of correlating all that information. So if we have a look here, we go in, look at the details of the feedback. We can see clearly what it's saying. So what I need is the ability to look at the result that came and was saved with this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go and view the user test. That came from that one. And then I will go and look at the results. So the results will be obvious when you do them. You will just go through as the person looking at the feedback. You will go through and you will see the results in a fairly simple way. And this is a way you can verify it. So typically what will happen here is if you don't have tools, this will be a phone call or this will be an email. More likely than not, it will just come back as failed without any evidence. And you'll be phoning somebody up and you'll say, what happened? Why did it fail? Well, I can't really remember, but I just know it was something to do with the pricing. Well, what did you do? What did you select? Don't know. This takes all that headache away because you can see exactly what you did, how you did it. And that is important because different users run things in different ways. And it may well be that by changing the facility and clicking apply, it causes the problem. I mean, I don't know. We can go through, and each one of these things will show you what it's up to. So if I wanted to find the error, then I can just come in here and I can see it's got a big error next to it. And I go to markup and I can see there what's happening. Now I can clearly see that there is a problem here. For reserved ordering, you should not be applying discounts. So this one's a nice, easy one. I've opened up, I understand that's an error. If you're triaging, I can go through to my actual issues, and I can change the status, and I would say bug created. And then I would go in and I would actually create a defect in whichever system. And it's, some people do this, some people allow their end users to create defects directly. But the bottom line is it's very simple, it's very quick, it's designed for end users, non-technical. So it's literally click to the right, do your test, mark the screen up and hit save. That's it. And if you do that, you have everything you need in one centralized area to give you the proof, to create the defects, and it allows you to get greater coverage because you can see exactly who did what and when. And also it allows you to see exactly what's been done to do that.
So just to add on to there, Jonny, just to kind of, I mean, I guess dumb it down for my sake, is, one thing that I find testing, especially being a non-technical user, it's not necessarily doing the test, but having to take the time out of my day to create the documentation, the screenshots, and having to report back. And Jonny touched on an amazing note, which is everyone tests differently, but also reports differently, the way they communicate. So we standardize what you see. The reporting is accurate. It is exactly what they're doing end to end. And on top of that, you get visibility of automatic documentation, the playback video of what they're doing. So training materials, capturing that transfer of knowledge, standardizing those practices is in my mind bloody awesome. There you go. Sorry, Jonny. Pass it over.
It's very good points. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get across. If you're an end user, this is simple. Even setting it up is very simple as well, because you would just, for each user, you would come in, you bring reusable test cases in. So this check reserved order, this could be ran every time you actually make a change to the system. So the next thing I want to show, and as I said, this is going to be like a quick intro to our solutions, is some automation. And rather than show you running live, I'm going to show you one we did earlier, but this is what we call a playlist. And all those recordings you've just done for manual testing, they're used as seeds to this recording. Slightly different because it's broken down, but if I click on play, we're going to run this playlist, and these typically are run overnight in sort of with nobody there. But what it does, it can log in, it can start up whichever system you got. It can do multiple systems if you need to move between systems. It's got some built-in functionality where there's a lot of AI going on in the background here. One of them is listening to the application under test, and that's when it's flashing red. So it doesn't matter if you're on a slow network, fast network, it will still work every time. It waits for the screen. You can see how it logs in, and it just moves through the test that we've just done. It's got error handling if something goes wrong, such as the order number doesn't exist, or there's a quantity of 0 and it needs to warn you about that. But it's essentially running through the test that we've just done. And you can see here what it will do. Then this is one of the huge powerful things. It's the only true out-of-the-box regression automation tool on the market, in the sense that while it's running through this, which a lot of other automation tools can do, perhaps not in the simplest way that we can do it, we're checking everything in the background. So I'll log in, I'll do my thing, I'll log out. So when I get in the morning, it's all there and it's all ready. And I can go in and I can look at the results. And the results, once again, they can be made simple. So I can see here I found one error. I just click on that one error. And what it does is it shows me the difference between the two screens. So on the left, if I click on it, you can see based on the data, there's a difference. So it's not going to worry about the whole test. It just says, look, here, I found a difference. It doesn't tell you, if that's an error, you then have to say, well, actually, that's the way it was supposed to work. But it does show all the differences between what it should be doing and what it actually is doing. And the idea is, once you've been through a few of these manual tests and you turn them to automation, it buys you more and more time. because the automation is there to do the donkey work. All the basic stuff that you need to do should be done through automation. And then it allows you to look more in depth when you're doing your manual UAT testing, such as, actually, I don't like the way that this works. It's not very efficient, or I don't like the color of this, or I think this could be on another screen. You know, all the intelligent feedback comes from the manual UAT testing, and all the does it actually work comes from the automation testing. And when you apply these two together, what you end up is not only a complete assurance that when you go live, it is going to work, but it's going to drastically cut the time that your business users need to spend testing in the first place. And I know through experience implementing this that some testers don't even want to be there. It's not their day job. They don't want to do it. They're being forced to do it. So this is great for them, because all the does this equal this, and has been done by automation before they even get to it, and then they just need to run through it with an eye actually to see if the product's okay that you're testing. And what you get is user mind share, because let's say as an end tester now, rather than seeing if it's working, you're seeing whether it's working for you. You can then feedback through the mechanisms I showed you earlier and say, look, here's a good idea. Why don't we do this? And then you can go back and make the necessary changes. So although, yeah, sorry, go on, Mike.
No, just kind of on that point again, it's quite interesting. So if we're looking at, the whole point of this is, how do we keep the lights on? How are we dealing it? We're dealing with monthly releases, major releases every year. And that's the thing that we're dealing with. We've also got, I'm sure there's people in this group that are going through an implementation, right? Moving from, on-premise to multi-tenant, and that takes a lot of testing. So what does this solve? Well, if we have a true safety net that is highlighting every and any change for us, then what does that do? It now allows us to target our time correctly and be sure, well, one, the assertion is everything that was running my business before still available to me and still working? Does it flag that? Great, it does. Flag immediately if anything is missing that runs my business. Great, that's an automatic confidence that you get. But also everything that's new that's been added, a function or whatever it is going to be flagged, and now you can manage your time correctly. So that's huge, especially from these updates. Like Jonny said, right? It could be running overnight, but usually today it's, well, we test this manually. It's going to take us about a week from when we get told to do it, and then we figure out what we have to test, and it takes more time. This is a true safety net. And on the back of that, you're now building stakeholdership with your testers, right? And we would admit to, we say it, it's rare to find someone who's a true lover of testing. It's not a sexy subject. It's not something that users like to do, right? So they're supposed to be processing business, not taking the time out of the day and go and test something. So if we can make that standardized and make it simple and actually encourage stakeholdership in testing, that speeds up that process as well. So it's a really powerful mixture when you got both. So there you go. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's where I was saying at the start that everybody on the call today, you've got the skills already in your business to do this. It's the subject matter experts that typically don't want to go and test in the first place to do that. But looking at the organisations on the call, some of you are highly regulated industries, regulated by the FDA, and I've noticed some pharmaceutical organisations on there. So the wonderful 21 CFR Part 11. What we were going through there is the evidence and traceability is captured automatically. And I don't know if there are any compliance people on the call. The software validation element, we have to provide the evidence, we have to provide the traceability, we have to provide the evidence of what that change is and therefore what that impact is to our organization. But through that capture, you've got it all. Through the automation and the regression testing, you're identifying all of the changes. And that's why I say, for that very first bit that Jonny went through of go and perform the test, a lot of our customers, go and perform, go and create a purchase order, don't have the test steps. They just go capture the evidence. So it's literally, 2 hours and you're up and running and doing that manual testing that are late, then post that, what you're converting into automation that's going to remove you asking for that SME again in the future.
Absolutely. So there was a
Yeah,
question that's been shared by Cindy, but I've said I'll answer that immediately. I'll be the first question answered in the Q&A section here. Go on,
actually,
Jonny.
I've finished pretty much what I want to show you, so I'm happy to answer Cindy's question. And it's an important question. That's why I'd like to go through it now. The question is to everybody is what happens if you go from SyteLine 9.0 to SyteLine 10? And this is where it's absolutely perfect for that kind of thing for two reasons. The first one is the automation that I just showed you absolutely will be run. So I'm going to open up a live one here without going into too much depth. But basically, when you run these regressions, then what you can do is run it against any system. So, for example, when you upgrade SyteLine, it's unlikely that your launch program is going to change, but it may do. But it'll run through and it'll run through all the, you see the different things here. Each one of these is a script running different areas. This is checking purchase orders overall, and it will still run through. But what it will do is it will point out the differences for you. And we have a concept called self-healing, which will actually, once the differences have been found, it will then go through and it will change these scripts automatically for the new version. But the main reason you're running this automation is to show the differences and to show it still works. So that's number one. Number two, if I come back to my manual testing, as I mentioned previously, and I'm going to bring that up now, all of the test cases are centralized and reusable. So if I wanted to load user tests for a test, so I'll go to, pretend this is SyteLine, and there's a set of tests that I need to run. Well, I can just go through and I can pick and choose from the different areas. So if we looked at purchasing, and a lot of these actually came from Infor. So SyteLine may have them, I'm not sure. But you choose what you need, but they can also have version numbers on. They do, great. So they can have version numbers on them. So if I just pick a random one, you can see there's a lot of setup information. So it's what depth you go to with this stuff is up to you. But these are the ones that we brought in from Infor themselves. So there's a lot more steps. But this can be version controlled. So you can run the manual test and then you can change it up the version, and this is the one for version 10. So you can have both and they're both reusable depending on what you're on. But because you've done that sweep with the automation, you should have cleared a lot of the problems in the first place.
Awesome.
Yeah, in that first instance, where some of our customers have upgraded from on-premise to cloud, and part of that conference room pilot, the manual test that Jonny went through first and foremost, because obviously part of that upgrade, you've got a project team, you've got some of your subject matter experts there. So the subject matter experts are going and capturing and documenting some of your critical processes to start. So then prior to go live, it's very easy to follow that, and you've already got automation as you've gone live in preparation for those monthly service releases.
We've got some cool questions coming in actually, and just that you mentioned documentation, Carl. Michael, you asked, can the test cases with the screenshots and the comments, basically the automatic documentation, be printed as PDF documents? Absolutely. You can pull those out in that format and share that internally however you wish as well, and print them out. So they're always available to you, and it's automatically logged to that script and that test as well. So it's immediately available to you in real time. So good question on that one. We got another one from Kevin. I assume
just on the documents, sorry, Mike, just on the documents.
Go ahead.
Again, it's just, as I say, I try to learn and share knowledge of what our customers are doing. With that automatic output of the documentation, you've also obviously captured and documented your process. A lot of our customers will then put that into their learning management system. So think about when people are being onboarded in different areas of the business, there's a step-by-step of somebody new started in sales, for argument's sake. How do I go and create a customer order? How do I go and create a sales order? Well, you've captured it and documented it as part of that test. So somebody new coming into the organization can be onboarded quicker because it's a very, it's follow that, and that's how you do it. So again, it's just another area of what some of our customers are doing.
Absolutely. Awesome. I've got a question from Kevin. Go on, Jonny.
As well as creating Word, PDF, you can create what I showed you previously, which is the animation. So if I just click on that for the one that we've just done, and it creates these little proprietary videos, which also go in LMS.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just, and you can easily change these things. So this was what I literally, the manual test that I just ran. It's worthwhile looking at this because it's heavily utilized by our customers. Because you can send emails, you could actually create PDFs, but by sending a little video like this, it's even clearer. And as I said, because it's proprietary, it's not an MP4, it's our version, it's emailable. So it's kilobytes rather than megabytes or gigabytes. And you can say, look, I've just ran this test. Here's what happened. What do you think about it? You know, and because I marked the screen up, it did it there as well. And it shows you very clearly what's happening. And from here, we can even export to PDF and Word. So we have multiple ways if you don't want to use it within that you can then go through and you can create that from.
Great training materials as well for sharing internally and building best practice as well. So actually there's a few questions coming in, which is awesome. So from Kevin Pollard, we have, I assume your tool could also run testing on Infor's CPQ and EQ solution?
Yeah, I mean, we are
Yeah,
technology.
indeed.
So
yeah, so just to clarify, we are technology agnostic. So this is not just a tool built for Infor. We run over homegrown applications, desktop applications, web-based applications, whatever you could think of. 99% of the time, this will run over that. So don't just think of solely that, but now it allows you to think about your entire ecosystem of applications and that true end-to-end testing. So this is a very powerful tool in that, especially.
We have a customer with CPQ that goes out to their I'll say PLM, it's their CAD PLM package as part of their CPQ process, but it's obviously a third party PLM for the bill of materials, all that type of good stuff that they pull back in as well. So yeah, maybe a great example to show whoever asked that question at some point in the future.
So an interesting question from Andrew here. Can we link the test plans to the Infor process mining tool?
Okay, so that is a good question, and it's actually on our R&D. So watch this space, it's coming up. And the reason we want to do it is not just linking the test plans, it's because we want to use the process mining to say what's actually going on here. How are the people actually using the product? And therefore, how can we create our test cases to align with that? But as I said, it's currently R&D. We're doing we're getting a lot of feedback off people at the moment. And it's one of the great things about original software is we don't produce customer specific software. So when we get questions like that process mining, what we will do is we will create a version that works for everybody and everybody gets that change. So if you can imagine the hundreds of customers and implementations across SyteLine, Infor, all those people are driving back information and everybody gets the benefit of it. That's fantastic. So it's coming, but it's not here yet. The question, animations can be stored within SharePoint, absolutely. The animations, if I can just show you my desktop, see if I can find one. They're basically just documents that you can move around. And there you go, there's one. It's actually for SAP, but look, 382 kilobytes, and that's a full SAP process. It's quite a long
Jonny,
one.
you're swearing on this webinar saying SAP.
I know, but we, as I said, we work across lots of different things. So yeah, you can cut, copy, paste, whatever you want to do. And we actually have a widget that you can put on any PC. So even if it doesn't have our software on it, you just put this little widget on and you'll be able to view these animations.
Awesome. There you go. Any more questions? Feel free to fire them away, even if you think they are weird or wonderful or completely left wing or right wing. Feel free to throw them at us. We're always interested.
Yeah, we've still got a little bit more time.
Yeah, we've done really well.
Just a wrap up of 5 minutes and remind us in a moment what we've just covered.
Whilst people are thinking that if they want to maybe put their hat in the ring, just to mention, we are also going to be at the SyteLine meetup in Anaheim next year. So obviously a chance to come and say hello and speak to us if that's something you're going to. But actually, whilst we're on this point, we think we got another question in. Andrew, just thrown another one in the room. There we go. Is there a standard set of tests that can be used by the Infor user group?
So the answer to this one is obviously everybody's configured differently. So when you configure your own system, then you've got to come up with your own test cases. But because of the mechanisms of business process capture that we have, we can make that job very easy for you. Standard vanilla, you can get them from SyteLine and Infor. I really like the question though, in respect to it says can be used by Infor user group. We're always encouraging people to talk, our customers to talk to each other. So there's absolutely no reason we can't have a SyteLine user group just for the automation. You can share pieces of automation, you can share ideas. I'm more than happy to do that. That's great.
Awesome. There we go. No worries, Chris. The session is being recorded, so we will share it to you. But thank you for joining, even though late, so no problem at all. Andrew's also mentioned he's thinking of pooling tests. I'm thinking of pooling test plans between users. It's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely a great idea.
Indeed, things have to be reusable, and we have a number of vanilla tests that we use as part of the onboarding. But some of our customers, global customers, that do things differently as we go down into the lot lower detail. They'll do things differently to the US, to Europe because of regulation. A purchasing example. In Belgium, they use 5 or 6 different screens that they step through to create a purchase order. The American facilities, there's 2 other screens that they don't go through. But at a top level, we've got some, I'll say vanilla test scripts across some core functional processes. Think of, order to cash, procure to pay type of scenarios.
Michael's also sent another question, and I'm happy to take this one because fellow Michael's got to stick together. Does the animation include audio? Well, funny you say that. It doesn't. It does have an audio function, which is the great thing about this tool. Because it's a no-code solution, it's in plain English. So when you look at that recording that Jonny showed, on the left-hand side, it has the step-by-step of what those actions are in plain English. And what you can do is turn text to audio. So it'll actually read out what that person is doing, and you can have that at the speed that you want. So it does have an audio assigned to it of the actions that person's doing. Now, obviously, if you wanted to be really, do some fun stuff, I guess you could do some voiceovers if you want to make it more personal for you in the future. But straight out the box, it does provide a text to audio functionality with that process, and it's great in that perspective. Available in other languages. Not yet. The interesting thing is that we can obviously work over applications that have different languages on them, but the audio function of reading it back will be, at the moment, is currently in English. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jonny, but I'm sure that's the case at the moment.
Well, the situation is we don't support multilingual in a standard respect, but however, everything that I showed you could be in any language.
Yeah.
So if you build so for example, we've got customers out in Quebec, and for legal reasons in Quebec, you've got to supply it in French. So what we do is we've actually built a French version, so that all the test cases have got French test steps. It's all French descriptions, the feedback, everything you see on the screen is in French. But when you do the right click, add copy paste, it will still say add copy paste.
Yeah.
So the answer is kind of yes, but it depends what you want.
If you ask us for it, there we go. I think that's the best. We'll work on it with you. Absolutely. Great questions, by the way. Let me see if there's been any. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I'm mindful of time.
We've got 2 more questions. Can we do it?
Okay.
2 more. Yeah. Chris, you've got the last 2 on, so awesome. So we got a standard set as a proposed by Andrew would be really nice. So that's not really a question, it's an answer. So that's my bad. I think the second one was, or setting up a user group to share best practice. So I guess a question to us.
Yeah,
are we thinking or planning on potentially setting up let's say a call monthly for us to set up our own user group? That's actually a good question towards us. Would we be up for doing something like that?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we need to go to customer success, but yes, setting up a user group to share best practices is definitely something we want to do. We've done it in the past with other communities, and what it comes down to is being asked by people like you, Chris. If we get 5, 6 customers, 5, 6 different companies working in different ways that want to come together, then fantastic. Yeah, we definitely facilitate that.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, indeed,
everybody,
and not just across the the wider Infor market as well. So we're getting learnings coming in from some of the other products. Certainly, if we speak to more, people across those different products, very similar challenges. And again, bringing some of that sort of, I'll say, cross pollination in will be I think a good seed for success.
Absolutely. Well, look, I guess on that note, I think from all of us from Original Software, massive thank you for all of you joining us today and asking some great questions. And again, if you do have any questions that are maybe lingering or didn't come to mind at the moment, you're always welcome to, email us on LinkedIn or direct email us directly, or however you want to contact us. You're very welcome to do so. And again, we will be at the SyteLine event in Anaheim, where we will be definitely reminding everybody, I guess, that point exactly on the screen. You are not alone, right? You may think you are the only ones going through this specific process of testing. It really isn't. It is, everyone is in the same boat, and we will absolutely be happy to answer any questions and show you how you could get some immediate value out of it with some with out of the box solutions that will leverage what you're doing. And obviously test everything every time. Get QA right at the forefront of everything that you do. And obviously don't go looking for things. Make sure you're spotting difference. I mean, if you enjoy your childhood games and trying to do that, it's always worth having fun. But to spot things at major points in an implementation or anything like that, it's always worth to leverage the technology we have today. Look, we live in a world where we expect our orders to arrive tomorrow and we want everything now. So why not do the same with our testing? So thank you all again, and thank you for listening to us and not falling asleep and anything like that. But
hopefully not. Anyway,
yeah, we will see you soon. And again, we're here if you have any further questions. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Carl. And yeah, see you.
Do you have any more polls or anything like that?
Actually, yeah. You know what? We'll do one. We'll throw one in there, and I guess it is this one here. If everybody's up for doing it, I'm curious to see what are people finding the most time consuming on their end. It'll be interesting actually before we end the session. Oh, straight away, building new test cases is one of the biggest ones. Yep, it is the average. Tracking progress.
You have the skills in your businesses to be able to build new
Yeah,
test cases.
true. It is true.
Already with your SMEs.
Yeah. And I'm actually curious to see if there's any questions for a poll that you think would be worth asking, that you think is something that you're experiencing that you think others might not be. I'm always happy to ask that question too. But there you go. I'll give it another 10 seconds. Let's see. Interesting mix there. Awesome. So let's do that. I'm going to end that. I'm going to show that result, and then I've got one more to share, which is obviously the question we'd like to ask everybody. So you can see actually quite a big mix of individuals. It's obviously building the test cases itself.
It's painful. We know that there are people that have done something historically. It's painful. We don't like it. We don't like taking subject matter experts out of their day job.
Yeah. So just to ask the last question, of course, because I forgot to ask, is if you'd like to find out more, obviously feel free to tick yes. And if it's something that you're not looking to do anything actively right now, but you're always you're happy to talk about, you're very welcome to let us know. And we can always shoot some more information over that you can kind of try and see if it kind of shows some synergies with how things are today, and etc. So awesome. I'll give that as much time until the end of the call. So thank you all again. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And obviously it's not Friday yet, but it feels like it. Have a smashing weekend if we don't speak to you at any point tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you everybody for taking the time out.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye everyone. I'll leave that on for the last 5 seconds. There we go. We've got a few people still throwing their hat in the ring. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Awesome. There we go. Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great day.